And we're back with the second semi-final. It's St Therese with ball in hand for Riley Richardson up against City Heat 1v4 for this second Premier Men's semi-final. St Therese into attack. Early, Sam Berry is starting at goal shooter for St Therese. Connor Lilly at goal attack. Guy Keane at wing attack. Riley Richardson at centre. Tristan Commons at wing defence. Matt Longhurst at goal defence. And Jake Hedricks at goalkeeper. City Heat with the first turnover. And for City Heat, James Matthews starts at goal shooter. Jed Christian at goal attack. Jake Noonan at wing attack. And Tim Marshall at centre. Simon Cartwright, wing defence. Goal defence, Al Punchin. And goalkeeper, Ronan Pring. Matthews wiped it, looked another way, found Christian under the post. And Matt Blomley joins me again in commentary for this one. I didn't ask you a prediction in the first game, but I'm going to put you on the spot for this second one.
I'd say on form throughout the season, it's got to be St Therese. They've been the dominant side overall, although some of the games have been very close for them. But City Heat were the side that beat them not that long ago.
Yeah, it was round 9. It was an 8-goal upset, 35-27, a low-scoring game. The Saints were without Riley Richardson, 35-27 in that game, and that was St Therese's only loss for the year, and then came out and whipped DDNA by 33 goals last week.
And you'd have to say these sides match up quite well overall through the court. Very strong mid-court from both sides. You got great goalers for both teams and such strong defenders.
Jed Christian on the fly. It was a beautiful entry. James Matthews is on the board.
Yeah, it's great to see players like James Matthews back in our competition after some years away. Former Australian goaler and defender and former Victorian goaler and defender. We did play together in Victorian Open side many years ago, but providing such a presence there for the youth of Jed Christian.
And another Super Netball umpire, as are the other two with us tonight, Kate Wright and Nathan Begley, controlling the sidelines. City Heat now through Cartwright, beautifully read by Jake Hedricks, backed up by Riley Richardson.
But that cross-court ball, a little bit too much on it. Simon Cartwright does enjoy eating those ones up.
And Christian had the right idea, wanted to will James Matthews back into the circle and turnover City at the minute.
And part of it's because they're not looking down the court. At the moment, we're looking side on, look down the court. There's a couple of options there. You'll see that flyer. The hands won't be in it so much.
So St Therese finishing first on the ladder after the regular season. City Heat needing to beat the Aerials last week to make the 4, and they did under extraordinary circumstances. It was locked tight against the Aerials before they scored the last goal in the dying moments. One of the best games of the season.
And having a look here, St Therese are playing a bit of a zone setup, working some space. They had 3 at the front, 2 at the back. Just being nice and patient.
That was a beautiful drive to the top of the circle from Jake Noonan and finished by Matthews. 3 apiece, 4 minutes gone, opening term.
Oh, Alistair Punchin. He seemingly came from nowhere for that one. I'm sure that the camera will catch him actually coming from somewhere a bit closer than that. My view slightly obstructed. But you put the ball in the air, Al Punchin's always going to have an attempt at it.
Heat with the throw in. Noonan now. Christian. Lovely little tussle between Jake Noonan and Tristan Commons.
And Jed Christian hitting the deck there, probably providing enough distraction for the flat ball to go to James Matthews over the top.
So we're just going to have time called to wipe the floor, I think, and City Heat take the lead, 4-3, and their centre pass.
And we did say during the last match how humid it is out on these courts. At the moment, I dare say that's going to play a little bit of a role if the teams can't adjust to that humidity.
Matthews out of the circle. Good hand from Hedricks.
Oh, nearly a superb flat ball in. James Matthews just peeling off a little bit further than expected for Tim Marshall.
That was beautifully threaded by Commons. And just too much on it. Just taking a little time to settle both of these sides.
Yeah, it's quite a young goal-in lineup here for St Therese. And I think maybe the experience out front just needs to help them settle into the game. Bit of positive talk into the likes of Connor Lilly, and he'll be pretty hard to stop.
I remember Connor Lilly in the 2019 MLeague Grand Final. It was the last Grand Final we had.
Yes.
That game, commentating with Dan Cook, who we expect will join us next week for the Grand Finals, predicted that that match would go into extra time at the top of the game, and it did. And Connor Lilly scoring the goal in the dying seconds to force the tie and put that match into extra time, which St Therese then won.
And that was an extraordinary game.
Extraordinary game.
As someone who was part of the losing side, unfortunately unable to play due to illness, it was an incredible game to watch and incredible for Victorian men's netball. But Connor Lilly, he's put on a bit of more height, a bit more physical size to him. Now, makes him even more of a target, but never afraid. We were talking about Brodie McLeish in the last game and just that not being afraid at all. Connor Lilly, his precursor on that.
Sam Berry gives St Therese the lead, the last 2 goals to his side. Oh. I thought maybe Jake Hedricks had first position on that. But
it's all about angle, and
it is.
Nathan Begley, our umpire, definitely had a clearer view.
We have one.
We have one view. And
we have one angle.
And he was beautifully going around that sideline for all that, so I have no doubt that he had a clear idea. We did have some backs to the ball.
Longhurst now.
Another former Victorian Opens player, Matty Longhurst. Looking a little bit greyer than he was previously in our competition. I hope he doesn't mind me saying that, because
that's wisdom.
It is absolute wisdom from him as well. Ever the agile defender.
James Matthews yet to miss 5 straight from him. 6 apiece. 6:45 to go in the opening term. Longhurst just wheeling Commons a little forward to gain some ground.
And that was a classic Guy Keane move, that glide around the edge of the circle, not going offside, but still taking the ball.
Sam Berry just short on that occasion.
Look good off the hand. I don't mind him putting up that. Keep putting that up. Oh, classic Matthew Longhurst. You can't let the ball sit in the air for too long at all for either of these sets of defenders. They are going to have a hunt. They are going to rip the ball in.
City Heat now through Marshall and Noonan. And that was too far back to the transverse line, and Connor Lilly said, I'll have that one.
Yeah, difficult angle. There wasn't much on offer on the bench side of the court. So as soon as you're throwing straight down a line like that backwards, defenders are going to have a crack.
Connor Lilly makes the game a 2-goal margin in favour of St Therese.
Oh. Whose hands did it come off? Whose legs did it go through? I think there was a few different people there. Jake Hedrick's doing everything he could to try and keep the ball in.
Oh, Noonan wanted that from around the top of the circle. Great hand to it from Commons. And St Therese in attack again.
Yeah, Jed Christian probably releasing it a little bit low. They're giving up from a little bit higher. Would have clearly gone over to the space where Tim Marshall had. Guy Keane is absolutely commanding the top of that circle.
Yep. Largely uncontested. Lilly just lets it go on the 3, you'd have to say, and 9-6, biggest margin of the game so far to St Therese.
And that's been 3 in a row for them as well. City Heat have just lost a little bit of rhythm.
I thought Hedrick's had a look at that one, that cross-court ball.
That's much better angles there from City Heat.
And a better finish through James Matthews.
Beautiful looking shot. He'd lost the arc on his shot for a couple of years, James Matthews, but he seems to have well and truly found it again. Getting some beautiful height on it.
And the second tending call. Is it?
I do believe so. Maybe obstruction would be the only other thought. Oh, just not seeing the right angle on that one for the hold.
Just a question
of beautiful hunt.
That was, and clean, and through 2 St Therese players. That was a quick ball from Guy Keane, just off the fingertips.
City Heat were playing a bit of spatial defence there. That was a bit of no man's spatial defence, I have to say. That if they've got to push up or they've got to commit to a player there. Riley Richardson will take every ball down the court if you allow him all of that space.
Oh, good look outside from Connor Lilly. Bit of a dummy pass to Guy Keane, and Sam Berry extends the margin for St Therese to 5. Just over 2 minutes to go in the opening quarter. City Heat, well, it was 6 apiece, so it's a 6-1 run from St Therese. Jed Christian, short on that shot.
Strong take, Jake Hedricks. And Jed Christian's another one who's absolutely killed it in grand finals in the past and just struggling to find his rhythm a little bit here.
There's a great contest happening between Guy Keane and Simon Cartwright. There is not a millimetre given between either of them.
I'd like to see Al Punchin start to get a hand over the shot a little bit more rather than the continued jumps. Whilst he is getting some block attempts, just some variation to throw Sam Berry off his shot.
That was great backup from Richardson on the circle edge. Gives Lilly another opportunity. That one was good for mine. Ball on the ascent rather than the descent.
And also just the timing of the lift. It was superbly done. It was with control.
And now we've seen one in both of the semi-finals tonight.
Could it be something to come? Could it be a good omen for City Heat? A hoist off.
Matthews short on that shot. That's his first miss of the game too. Longhurst now just wants to settle it through the middle. Last 20 seconds of the first quarter. It's been a little frantic from both sides. St Therese with a little more steady behaviour through the middle of the quarter. But that is all the action we're going to see in the opening term. So St Therese are going to go to the bench. 13-7, they lead City Heat. Back for the second quarter in this major semi-final. St Therese 13-7, they lead against City Heat. It was 6 apiece at one stage, so it was a 7-1 run to the break. And just some shooting stats for that opening quarter. Sam Berry, who has the ball in hand now, was 9 from 11 at 82%. Connor Lilly, 4 from 7 at 57%. And for City Heat, James Matthews, 6 from 7 at 86%. Jed Christian, 1 from 2 at 50%. And changes for City Heat with Anthony Maniapoto coming on at centre. And Tim Marshall going to the bench. No other changes for either side, as St Therese extend their lead now to 7.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what City Heat do coming into the start of this quarter. They've had that one change, got to give that a chance to settle.
Great reflexes from Punchin then.
He definitely got to it very quickly.
Just need a light on in the storeroom just to get the ball back.
Well, it's occupational health and safety there. Thank you to the lighting people here at State Netball and Hockey Centre.
And a 2-0 start for St Therese. Chance to go 3-zip. And really put the heat on City Heat.
Connor Lilly's starting to find some speed again on his drives, which is very exciting to see because it makes it difficult for any opposition to stop him when he's doing that.
That was beautiful aerial work again from Al Punchin. And James Matthews wants to reward him.
And those quick hands from Jed Christian's what he's actually known for. He's active, he's in it. I want to see more of that.
Oh, ball from Noonan.
But superb timing, not just on the ball, but the open from James Matthews along that baseline.
City Heat did have quite a tough start to the MLeague season. They played the 3 finalists, or who ended up being the 3 finalists in their opening 4 matches. And short from Lilly. Gets his own rebound, though.
They just need a bit more communication in that circle between Al Punchin and Ronan Pring. If you're going to have someone flying at the rebound, you've got to have someone grounded at least. The ball's generally going to bounce out top.
And another little interesting stat. City Heat haven't scored any more than 58 goals this season, and St Therese average 61. Had a season high of 77 in round 8 against the Sirens. So there is work to do for City Heat.
And St Therese still have very, very strong goaling option on the bench in Tom Hardwick. I think that's
another up-and-comer.
Absolutely another up-and-comer. But I think that shows one of the reasons they're able to put on that volume is they've got the depth on the bench. They can keep people running. You're less worried about the goalie getting tired and therefore dropping off their shot.
Sam Berry just offline. 4 minutes gone in the second quarter.
And here's St Therese taking up space again. Looks like pretty much a 6 formation that they're currently running. Slightly offline. Interesting choice of ball, Anthony.
And St Therese end up with it.
They'd been so patient through there as well.
Good choice from Richardson to swing that ball cross court to Guy Keane because he knew that Al Punchin was going to have a crack at the ball rather than the post. That was enough height on it to reach Samberry.
Beautiful use of the baseline.
He did, ran right round the back of the mess. Connor Lilly.
And two defenders caught flat.
Just
unable
couldn't
to
finish
see
it again.
City Heat absolutely need to score this one. Pseudo attempted a chairlift. I think that's the best way of putting that one.
A chance for Heat to come back one more. Reduce it to 6. They do. 4 apiece, the quarter break. So the quarter time margin is restored. Footwork from Samberry. And another chance for Heat. Just
getting a few legs tangled on the receive on that one.
Oh, Hedricks. That was tough.
That was great hands by Jake Hedricks. The ball not given quite where James Matthews had the space open. Just need to be put out a little bit in front, not up over the hands.
That had probably a bit too much height on it.
Similar situation there. Put it out to space a little bit. Don't put it up to where the defender can be part of the contest.
No, Ronan Pring looks in a spot of bother for his left ankle, I think. So there's going to be a few changes for City Heat. Jed Christian moving to wing attack. Jake Noonan moving to centre. So Tommy Gilberto comes on at goal defence. Al Punchin moves back to goalkeeper. And Ben Gosbell comes on to goal attack for City Heat after a timeout for Ronan Pring. Looks in quite a bit of bother now that he's gone sideline.
Yeah, hopefully it's nothing too bad after today. Hopefully it's just a stinger, but you never know with those ankles.
And good hands from Gilberto into the action already.
Yeah, although forced, I don't mind this change from City Heat. The combination of Jed Christian and Jake Noonan in the attacking mid-court. It's going to provide a bit more drive, a bit more excitement through there. But also, Ben Goswell's had a ripper year.
And just a little fumble through the middle. St Therese come up with it. Richardson now. Longhurst. Lilly and Richardson now working the sideline. It opens up for Berry. (18-12), just under 7 minutes remaining until the main break. Huge thanks to Netball Victoria for streaming these Premier Men's semi-finals through Netball Connect.
Riley Richardson somehow managing to keep balance on his feet on that one, but also shows 3 seconds is a very long time.
Also managed to have 4 seconds on that one.
That's the thing for anyone watching. It's like 3 seconds is actually a genuine long time. Don't look panic with the ball when you're normally set.
Christian Noonan wanted to get on with it. And then an offensive call on Christian.
And I think that was just the timing of when he stopped and then went again.
A lot of prelim work happening from Riley Richardson. Sam Berry looking to create something at the top of the circle.
Tom Gilberto certainly keeping a lot of pressure on in that circle. I think the intensity in that circle was picked up a lot. It was pleasing to see Sam Berry adjust to it by coming out and trying to create something rather than them then having to force the ball over. But it's obviously become a lot more difficult in there.
Cartwright now stuck for an option. Gilberto. Christian. Heat having to do a lot of work to get into the circle.
Lovely pass.
James Matthews just saves the day on that one. And brings the margin back to 6, as it was at quarter time.
The ball rarely slips through Guy Keane's hands, so I think that shows how humid it is out here.
And another chance now for Heat.
Yeah, if they can take this momentum, all of a sudden this last 4 minutes, as I say, that a call goes against them for footwork.
Commentator's curse.
If they can take the momentum, they're a chance to bring this margin back. Even just a couple more for that halftime break, you keep pegging away.
That was a great drive through the top from Guy Keane.
And if Jake Noonan had actually stepped away from that contest, I dare say we would have seen footwork call against Guy Keane. A great example of when to pick your moment of be part of the contest and when to step away.
Heat into attack again. Jake Hedricks caught well outside the circle. Leaves a 2-on-1. Gosbell.
Beautiful shot.
Makes good with his second attempt. Margin back to 5. And City Heat with the centre pass.
And as a new goaler on for City Heat, Ben Goswell's got to do those things like put out those couple of shots. It also takes the attention away from James Matthews.
It does. He's scored more goals in the last 2 centre passes than Jed Christian had in the first quarter and a half.
Which is something I don't think you'd ever say about Jed Christian as a goaler, that he wouldn't have scored in that period of time. We've seen him score stunningly in the past.
Lily, he was just off target with the step on.
Yeah, bit off balance. I'm sure if he'd put that other foot down before putting up that shot just quietly. I would like to see the replay for that.
20-15, under 3 remaining until half time. City Heat have pegged it back a little bit in this second quarter in the last few minutes.
Such strong drive into the circle.
That drive from Gosbell took both Hedricks and Longhurst with him. Opened Matthews at the post.
Who had also started taking one of the bodies away on the screen. But both defenders fell for following the ball. Guy Keane, where did you get through that space? St Therese are getting pushed a bit wider now.
And another turnover. So City Heat making a little bit of a charge now in the final minutes of the second term.
And with 2 minutes to go, there's no need to rush it. They're starting to get some turnovers. They're starting to convert. All they got to do is tick over maybe 1 or 2 more goals without the opposition scoring.
Sweet shot from James Matthews. Margin back to 3. City Heat centre pass. Oh, just lacked direction, but picked up by Gosbell. And through the hands there of Christian.
And Jake Hedrick's become part of the action again. That ball ended up running out of Riley Richardson's hand purely because Al Punchin had a good crack at it.
Christian finds Gosbell with plenty of space to the post, but can't convert. Would have brought the margin back to 2. A minute to go now.
And one for the midcourt at home. Stay on the top of the circle. That's where the ball's going to get hit out to. And that's what Riley Richardson's done both in attack and defence so far.
A good attempt from Tom Gilberto. Riley Richardson just hanging on the opposite side of the court. And now an offensive contact call on Connor Lilly. Can't quite believe it.
I think more frustrated with himself on that one. He was trying to get out and just couldn't find the space. Tom Gilberto's not an easy body to get through. And I think found it a little bit more difficult than earlier. Because Connor Lilly is one who doesn't show a lot of expression on his face during a game. It's very flat and deadpan, even when he's having the most ripper of a game.
And just a turnover City Heat didn't need. But I don't think there's going to be enough time to score unless Sam Berry, and he can't. So we'll go to halftime in a very low-scoring match. St Therese lead City Heat 20-17 in the second semi-final. Both sides back, taking the court for the third quarter. St Therese with a slim 3-goal lead over City Heat to half-time. Just some shooting stats from that first half. Sam Berry, 14 from 17 at 82%. Connor Lilly, 6 from 13 at 46%. James Matthews, 14 from 16 at 88% for City Heat. Jed Christian, 1 from 2 before he moved to wing attack. And Ben Gosbell, 2 from 4 at 50% in his time before the main break. So 67% for St Therese overall compared to 77% from City Heat. 8 more attempts at goal from St Therese. So possession has held them in good stead so far. Some changes with James Sutton on at wing defence for St Therese. And Tim Marshall on at wing defence.
Also see Tom Hardwick come into goal attack. That change that we were expecting and did mention last quarter. Tristan Comans has also moved back into the circle into goal defence, a position he does play well.
Yeah, so
probably a bit more natural.
Longhurst and Lilly taking a breather on the sideline.
And Sam Berry really letting him know, I want it here, I want it here. Held that arm up for a very long time, getting close to sustained arm, one might say. I'll ask umpire Kate Wright about that after the game and her thoughts.
Oh, well read, James Sutton.
Terrifically done.
And
he just couldn't get his feet settled to get the ball off, unfortunately. It was tipped up.
A great read from Gilberto that brings the ball back into Heat hands. Christian now. Matthews out of the circle.
A lot tighter body on body the whole way through the court at the moment.
Gosbell finishes it for Heat. Brings the margin back to 2. And the centre pass for Heat as well.
I'm quite enjoying this change that came in last quarter. Ben Goswell going to goal attack. He's provided something. He's putting up the shots. He's having a crack.
Right on cue. Ben Goswell.
Oh,
what a
great take. And the confident. Don't even wait for him to stand up.
And the finish. Margin back to 1. And then that was textbook from St Therese.
And that drop that Tom Hardwick just did is normally a Guy Keane drop to pocket, beautifully released.
Christian, tough take. Contact from James Sutton.
Just catching the eyes of Jake Hedricks down just for that moment was enough to get the ball over the top. But, bit of ping pong going on with the ball. No one able to quite get a clear hold of it. Although the call didn't go his way, what I really enjoyed about that was the fact that he just kept going for the ball. He's gone, you know what? There's a fair chance I may get this.
Richardson now into the pocket for St Therese. Berry just had an acre of space for himself. And the margin now back out to 4. So a 3-goal run for St Therese and another turnover falls their way.
They are struggling from the centre pass through the transverse line a little bit, City Heat. Just lacking a bit of communication.
And Guy Keane, that was an intelligent play, knew that he'd drawn Al Punchin close enough to him that he could just pop the ball over to Sam Berry.
Looking going 5 in a row here. And that was one of the few times Sam Berry didn't actually have his position already set. Now, the change of Tim Marshall going into wing defence, I'm not sure that that matchup's working quite as well as it had been with Simon Cartwright and Guy Keane. Just in terms of the one-on-one aspect. Tim's probably a better spatial defender, but you can't give Guy Keane space.
Christian now flings it into Matthews.
Yeah, a little bit short.
Hasn't put through a goal yet in this third quarter. It's all been Ben Goswell.
Oh, and just lost his action for a moment there, Ben Goswell.
Yeah, it was great arm over the shot from Jake Hedricks. It was a great drive from James Sutton. Now there's a little bit of space for St Therese.
I've lost my words because it was such terrific timing there, Tom Hardwick, on that release.
Margin now out to 6, as it was at the end of the first quarter. So much like the other semi-final, one team out to a lead, one team taking it back.
Will this go the same way as the other final like that? Will St Therese be the one to actually push it out that little bit more? They're looking like it this quarter.
Well, they've got an opportunity now.
That's one I'd like to see Al Punchin think about the angle he's jumping from to give himself every opportunity to be seen as 3 feet.
Hardwick, Keane, Richardson. That was a tough take from Sam Berry.
Yeah, Tom Gilberto just guiding Sam's body forward.
And with that goal...
Well, with that attempt of goal called against Sam Berry, even though it was a beautiful shot for Tom Hardwick's first attempt at goal. Denied by the contact.
Noonan waiting for someone. Hardwick. That was great work on the transverse line. Just left it behind him. And a quick 1-2.
I think very determined to get his first goal of this quarter after being denied the last one.
And with that, it is 7 in a row for St Therese. City Heat have stopped. And just a little question mark over who sent a pass. It's St Therese, and so Simon Cartwright comes on at wing defence. Tim Marshall moves back to goal defence now. And that was patient work and great hands from Al Punchin.
And Sam Berry, the only reason you missed that for the block was because you had your foot forward and gave Al the opportunity to be part of that contest. If you kept the 2 feet and kept that solid ground, would have been fine. We've just lost that connection between Jake Noonan and Jed Christian this quarter. It was beautiful at the end of last quarter, but they've just struggled a little bit.
And now another turnover from St Therese, so a little scrappy again through the middle of the quarter. But a handy 8-goal lead for St Therese, the reigning champions from 2.5 years ago.
I had to even think, fortunately you can't see my face because my eyes just went to a complete blank of what year we last got to play a grand final. And that's what City Heat needed, just to settle in goal. They do need to find themselves going back through James Matthews a little bit more again, though, just to take some of the pressure away.
Well, Matthews is yet to put up a goal this quarter. All 4 goals have come through Ben Goswell for City Heat in the third quarter. And James Sutton just runs onto that one. Quick shot from Sam Berry. Didn't want to give time.
And where is the ball gone again? Top of the circle.
Yeah. Didn't want to give time for Al Punchin to get his 3 feet and take a jump. Good attempt in the air from Marshall.
I'm not seeing the value of the spatial defence that City Heat are playing in this defensive third at the moment. They were doing much better when they were in the tighter one-on-one. Yeah. Call the swaps in the circle, sure, but you need to be tight in that one-on-one.
30-21, under 5 remaining until the last change. City Heat need to
beautiful block.
Not only score, but find some ball. And Jake Hedricks, what timing.
And just when you think Jake Hedrick's having a quiet match for his standards, he comes up with that beautiful block, which just stopped the tide of City Heat looking like they might have been coming back again.
And Tom Hardwick, another sweet shot to take the margin to 10. Sam Berry, a little more confident on that occasion, flicked the wrist, and the goal dropped in. Margin now 11, biggest margin of the game. Matthews now just couldn't find Noonan at the top of the circle, and St Therese come up with their umpteenth ball this term. That combination between Richardson and Keane just clicking over quite nicely at the minute, and a sweet shot from Tom Hardwick. Rarely looks like missing.
If we were in Suncorp right now, there would be timeout desperately needed for this City Heat side. The break cannot come soon enough for them just to talk through what's going on.
And potentially make a change. They do have Tom Gilberto still on the bench, Anthony Maniapoto. They've got positional changes they can also look at.
I'd be putting Gilberto into goal keep.
And Al Punchin can also go into goals.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. You can throw James Matthews back into goalkeeper, in fact. Have Tom Gilberto out in front of him. Throw Al in there, perhaps. They've got to make a change.
Another great attempt from Jake Hedricks, just angling his body so well. But then Gosbell, unflappable when he's got the ball in the circle. 5 from 6 this quarter through the hands of Hardwick on that occasion for St Therese. And Heat desperate. Simon Cartwright, though, had no one leading towards the ball for him.
Both players wide, one driving down the line, but no one coming to it. And you can see the pressure's changed outside that circle with Simon Cartwright on Guy Keane. It's making him work a lot harder for it. Spent a long time in the air, that ball.
Yeah,
Hedricks thought about it.
I think he had about 3 thinks about it. And that, with 1:20 remaining in the quarter, is James Matthews' first goal of the third quarter.
I don't think I've ever seen a game that James Matthews has been goaling in that's taken him that long in a quarter to score a goal for his side.
Really could be the story of the night. Just the inability to find the goalers when they need them.
And that was lucky on that one. The ball was good. James Matthews probably moved off a tad early, giving Jake Hedricks a chance there.
Matthews now again holding high, but swatted away.
And in frustration, trying to indicate that maybe he had it in his hands, or had it in his hands long enough for a possession.
Riley Richardson just left that ball in the air for Tom Hardwick. And with 25 seconds remaining, St Therese did have an opportunity to take the margin out to 13 again. But City Heat, if they're good enough, Jake Noonan trying to direct traffic. Christian, 7 seconds on the clock, looks long. Jake Hedricks, front position. And that'll be all the scoring. St Therese will go into the last break with a handsome 36-24 goal margin. That was a 16-7 term from St Therese. And so the season will end tonight for one of these two sides, St Therese, with a 36-24 lead. Another low-scoring encounter for these two sides, reminiscent of their round 9 match. And some further changes with Jed Christian going on to centre, Anthony Maniapoto on at wing defence, Simon Cartwright taking a seat on the bench. And for St Therese, Chris Cameron coming on at wing attack, Guy Keane taking a seat on the pine. Perhaps with a view to next week already, given the margin.
And that is the start that City Heat need. They're going to have to score a few more in a row if they want any chance of getting this margin back.
And Gosbell 5 from 6 in that third term. James Matthews just 2 from 4. Sam Berry 8 from 12. Tom Hardwick 7 from 7 in his first 15 minutes of the game in that third period. 16 from 20 from the term. They had 10 more shots at goal than Heat, just 7 from 10.
And that was really a difference in that last quarter. One team's putting on goals en masse, the other team's struggling to get it into their goal circle.
They went on an 11-1 run in that third term, St Therese. Just extraordinary.
Yeah, City Heat were only able to get goals on either end of the quarter for that. Great contest.
It's the ball that City Heat need, but they need to be...
They need to be hitting targets if they want to be getting this back. You've got to be delivering down the court with some relative ease.
Targets and a little more urgency.
Well, any urgency on the drive. The angles, they're straight down or straight to the side at the moment. Much better when they're giving any direct angle through it.
Don't see many 45s. Even that one was parallel. Christian Matthews out of the circle.
And Matthews having to work very hard for that.
Yeah, he's trying to...
He's not quite sure where the ball went there, but it fell conveniently to his other goaler.
And unfortunately a miss. Sutton now.
So patient. Not a player who panics at all, James Sutton. Takes it all in stride. Oh, God. Al Punchin.
He had a breath on that, didn't he?
So much flight on that and somehow still not getting it. That's how high that ball went.
Sam Berry as Tom Hardwick meets the floorboard in back play. Christian through the hands of Noonan. A little shake of the head.
I think he's just a bit frustrated in general with that one, knowing he should have still taken it. Tim Marshall coming up with some good hands there. When Tim's allowed to hunt, he does well there, but he's got to be tight one-on-one against Tom Hardwick.
Cameron now swings it to Sutton.
Looking for any option outside the circle. Riley Richardson in zero rush to get that ball. And at the same time, you're 12 goals up. Take your time, take a breath. Spending all day in the air again. Someone's got to have a go at that ball. Ooh, I would love to see that one on replay because I've got a feeling that was hitting the side of the ring when that one was hit. So arguably still on its way down, but maybe already passed?
I can't do instant replays in my mind.
I only do instant replays in my mind. I think that's part of the problem. But straight back on with it.
A little too easy for St Therese. Good swing to the pocket. And finding Sam Berry. That's his 25th goal of the game.
He's had a really good game. And this is coming off the back of the previous time these sides played each other. He did struggle a little bit with the pressure from Al Punchin, but he's really come out absolutely determined to hold his ground, to be in the right position. And he's been very difficult to stop.
Calls for replay. Nathan Begley in the background shaking his head going, nope. Good swing from Riley Richardson. And hands to it.
Sam Berry.
From Tim Marshall.
And a great example of why you just keep attacking it.
So Guy Keane now coming on at centre for Richardson. 9:32 remaining.
14 goals a margin is going to be very difficult for City Heat to come back with the way they're playing in this quarter. If they can bring back what they played in that first quarter in particular, I think there'd be no doubt that 14 goals is a chance.
Keane doing a lot of work around the perimeter.
Al Punchin determined to prove he got that one on the way up.
He wanted one. He's got one.
It was incredible elevation to get hands for that one, well above the ring.
And had a look at that ball as well.
Guy King
on the throw-in.
Trying his best to keep his feet, still controlling it.
Good cut from Cameron. Just through the hands and Berry on that occasion. Marshall now.
Who's punching through? At the moment, everyone's allowing the space to get clogged up. We're not using the other side of the court. When St Therese are very good at filling that gap, filling that space, which means there's got to be space somewhere else.
Oh, excellent vision from Cameron.
Yeah, terrific vision. Ball should not have got through from where it was released from. But you give it enough time. Good eye contact between Chris Cameron at wing attack and Sam Berry at goal shooter.
Plenty of pots on now. Noonan. Christian. Just not well placed, not well timed into Matthews. St Therese on the charge.
Guy King maybe expecting a bit too much of Sam Berry on that one after the game that Sam Berry's played.
Fortuitously falls into Noonan's hands.
Jake Noonan going, yes, I'm here waiting. That's the benefit we'll give him on what his arms were doing on that one. Al Punchin honestly looking over the mess because I think he's sick of it being played around and no one driving through.
Just over 7 minutes to go in the second semi-final. The winner will play Net Blacks in the big dance next week.
Looking to be a very exciting grand final with the way that these sides are playing at the moment. Al Punchin begging Tim Marshall to keep driving, seeing that centre third is open for the drive. This is what City Heat have needed, is finding James Matthews open under that post again. They're just struggling for that second connection. James Matthews out very far from the circle. Three in a row, if I'm not mistaken, for City Heat.
Yes, correct. Margin back to 11. Very similar match playing out as it did in the first semi-final when Net Blacks broke away in the third term against the Seahawks. 62-52 winners in the end.
Getting the turnover, but struggling for that feed as Jed Christian gives a beautiful long bounce pass. And we need to see a bit more purpose, a bit more urgency from City Heat as they go for the 5 in a row for this one if they can score it. Because the thing is, at the moment, they are getting the ball through. If they can force this on, they'll force St Therese to make another change, which may throw momentum their way again.
Potentially, and Tim Marshall came to the sideline to have a little chat with Tom Gilberto, who is going to come back on now at goal defence. Margin is 9, just over 5 minutes remaining.
And even though some people may look at it and go, why have they called an injury time when they've just got some momentum like that, scoring those last 5 goals? This is a great change for them. This injects some legs that have been off for a little while there. Tom Gilberto will have a hunt. He will be physical. He will keep them accountable. And I'm not sure if Tim Marshall could have kept that going so wisely, called the time.
Beautiful shot from Tom Hardwick. Just takes some wind out of the sails of City Heat. And now Tristan Commons coming off and Matthew Longhurst coming back on for St Therese. So really just using the bench to their advantage, St Therese.
And I'm really not sure what this change is that they've gone for.
Yeah,
Connor Lilly is a goal defence. So, have you ever seen this?
No, I haven't.
And we've both seen Connor Lilly play a number of games over the years, and I don't recall seeing him as a goal defence. So, look, let's see what happens with this.
So Matthew Longhurst just duly takes his seat again. Hardwick has had a little bit of a quiet quarter.
Perhaps being conscious of points a little bit there with that change. Looking at just making a brief change to maybe rotate another position.
Yes, MLeague. The VMMNA does operate on a points system where, based on experience and your position in state sides, you are awarded, is it 5-1?
5 down to minus points for our underage teams, our 17s and our 20s. Our 23s players, however, are given a value in the positive. But it does restrict the number of players that are allowed on court. You're only allowed, I can't recall whether it's 20 or 21. We did have played this around the last couple of years, and the rules have escaped me since I no longer run the competition. Oh, well done, Ben Gospel. And I will also say that we are in constant review of our point system, trying to ensure that we're getting the best possible competition for MLeague here in Victoria to improve the quality as we have done year on year, but also to improve the quality now of our junior MLeague, which is so important. So stay tuned for surveys that will be coming out where we will value your opinion on ways we can look at changing around our point system to keep the competition strong and as appropriate. No idea will be discounted.
It was a great move by James Matthews on the baseline there. The ball to him, just a little to overreach, and Chris Cameron just I'm not sure if he was in shock or in pain.
And no one was quite sure what was going on with the feet. Kate Wright was trying to see what was going on. There were players in her way. And that's one of those ones where players don't necessarily realise that the umpire's trying to see that unusual circumstance as well. Because it's not often a player gets caught by another player in quite that fashion.
Oh, that was a great stretch from Tom Hardwick. Then came in and took some space so Al Punchin couldn't contest.
And then brought back into the contest, Al Punchin.
Last 100 seconds of this second semi-final. St Therese will meet Net Blacks in the grand final next week. We'll have the Premier Men's Grand Final and Premier Mixed from Court 1. So we'll have elevated seating and camera angles for you. And we'll have a special guest in Melbourne Vixen, Kira Austin.
Which is very exciting. I know a number of people here in the stadium tonight and at home are looking forward to seeing the season that she'll have ahead. Is a very valuable recruit for the Melbourne Vixens for this year.
As Tom Hardwick nails his 11th from the same amount of attempts.
And with Net Blacks and St Therese facing off next week, that is 1 versus 2 for the season. So it's quite a fitting grand final.
It's the fairy tale finish.
It is. And especially when you got elimination finals, theoretically your 1 and 2 should be the sides winning them. But I think what it shows is the depth of the competition that we do have here in Victoria, that on the night it could be anyone's game.
Good hands from James Sutton. I mean, there's only 35 seconds remaining. You're up by 12 and still wants to win ball.
Never gives up, James Sutton, ever. And so humble.
Player of the match from you.
Oh, I'm going to give it to Sam Berry as goal shooter. And I'm probably not someone who gives goal shooters one look, but I think he was such a strong target. Yes, he was looked after very well out in front, but an absolute target, didn't miss many, and really, really caused trouble for Al Punchin as goalkeeper.
Yeah, 28 from 36 from Sam Berry tonight, and that will do it for St Therese. 46-34 winners over City Heat. So St Therese will face the Net Blacks next week, next Wednesday night here at the State Netball Centre here in Parkville for the 2021-22 MLeague Summer Series Premier Men's Grand Final. 2 grand finals for you next week, the Premier Men's and Premier Mixed Grand Finals. We hope you have enjoyed the coverage tonight, and we look forward to seeing you again next week.